Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, listeners and viewers. This is News and Views on Salam Media with me, Aisha Kaji, your guest host for this week. As you've been realizing, I hope, through the course of this week, one of my aims with this show has been to introduce some element of Palestinian culture into every show in an attempt to prevent the erasure of Palestinian culture, which is deliberately happening certainly within Gaza at the moment, with the eradication of mosques, museums, churches, even ordinary homes as repositories of memory and culture. So we've spoken about kefir, we've spoken about literature, we've spoken about visual art, and today we're going to be talking about a very important aspect of Palestinian culture. We hope through this segment, we're going to be telling you the story of Palestine through culinary delights and capturing the essence of its rich history and culture and resilience, even during the most difficult of times and even during Ramadan under such difficult circumstances. My guest for this segment, I'm delighted, as a huge fan of his, I'm delighted to welcome Sami Tamimi, Palestinian celebrity chef and award winning cookbook author. Yes, you got that right. The Sami Tamimi, the co founder of the Ottolenghi chain of restaurants. Sami, as I said, delighted to have you. Good morning. Thank you for joining us so early in the UK on this segment.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, it's a little bit early, but I think it will be fine.
Thank you so much. I hope you got some coffee before we started.
I got
So,
it here.
well done. Sami, I'm going to leave it to you to really describe for us what an integral role food plays in Palestinian culture, in Palestinian communities and families.
Yeah, I mean, food in Palestinian culture is very, very important. It's for us a way to show hospitality, resilience. Um, it's a connection to the land, to the farming, which most of Palestine used to be. Um, to produce the seasons. It's part of it's kind of entwined with our culture. Food is kind of passed down through generation from one person to another, and because of the displacements and the vision and people losing their lands, their houses, the country, this role of passing down the cooking aspects, it's really, really important to keep it alive, first of all, and for next generation to uh, reconnect with it and keep it alive. Um, Food is a basic thing, but we always say Palestinians, as a Palestinian, we also like to celebrate food, uh, invite people, hosting, meals, and share the food with other people. Um, I'm a chef. I started my cooking career not doing Palestinian cooking, but I
Mhm,
found myself in the last probably 15 years going back to the roots where I started, because it's a very important role that I need to kind of uh, keep in a spotlight on the Palestinian um, tradition and food and recipes and
mhm,
promote that, because I felt that this is the right thing to do as a Palestinian man who has a voice and written three cookbooks so far, and the last cookbook I wrote, it was Palestine, um, pretty much talking about the culture, modern time Palestine, what's happening really there, and into that a lot of connection to the food, to the land, to the farming, and of
mhm,
course a lot of dishes. Some of them are traditional, and some are a take on a tradition, uh,
mhm,
taking in mind that people don't have as much time nowadays to spend hours rolling vine leaves and courgettes. Um,
Yes.
so just finding easier or different ways to kind of inject the life into a dish without it losing the essence of the traditional dish, but for people to be able to make it in an hour or 20 minutes or 15 minutes, which
Mhm.
it was a challenge, but it was a beautiful challenge, and the reception was really, really beautiful. I mean, people. Uh, Sadly, the book was released just before COVID,
Mhm.
but the people that did get it, they were cooking for it constantly because it's all about home cooking,
Mhm.
and it kind of fit this era of people being locked down. Um, at the moment, I'm writing another cookbook. It's going to be also Palestinian cookbook. I can't tell you too much about it, but it will be a vegan, vegetarian Palestinian cookbook.
A vegan vegetarian Palestinian cookbook. Wow. I have to
Yeah,
tell you that Palestine and the recipes in there are some of my favorites anywhere. Your green shakshuka is a regular feature on my breakfast menu, for example, and the roasted cod with coriander.
yeah,
Absolutely, I really adore it. But those are just two of many, many in the book. And I would certainly urge listeners, if you're looking to buy a cookbook in the near future, seriously consider Palestine. It is phenomenal. And you certainly did what you intended, what you said you intended with it, Sami. My mom had just passed away when I bought your cookbook, and so many of the reminiscences there, even though she wasn't Palestinian, but just the way mothers are and families are and communities are, they brought me as wonderful memories from a very young age as you obviously have of your own cooking journey. I know you were born and raised in Jerusalem, is that right?
correct. Yeah, in the old city.
Yes, and so can you perhaps paint a picture for us of what Ramadan in Jerusalem was while you were growing up, and what the foods around Ramadan were?
Yeah, I mean, the whole city takes this magical kind of look where it, it gets decorated by the locals and lights, and the markets are bustling with uh, some typical Ramadan dishes. During the day, people just kind of, sourcing all their ingredients, and there's always pies and pies and sweets like atayef, which are pancake filled with cheese or walnut and cinnamon. There's quite a lot of sweets happening there, but that's because um, people tend to cook not just for their family, but also for guests that come in, for neighbors, for people that can't afford to, you know, um, uh, buying and cooking food. So that's kind of part of Ramadan. As a kid, it was a really beautiful kind of experience because Ramadan is all about family and eating together and sharing food, sharing stories. A long night because people would stay up after the iftar until suhoor. And then because my family's home was very close to Al-Aqsa, Al-Aqsa Mosque, they would just walk down to the mosque and have a prayer.
Mhm.
And there's lots of storytelling, as a kid playing around. Uh, a lot of relatives from different countries will come also to stay with our family, and it's really to connect with people, with your soul as well. The food is plays a big part of that as well. um, it gets to kind of people, relatives, mostly kind of siblings that kind of invite each other to iftar, and you just it's not just a meal. You go a few hours before and you stay there for a few hours after, so it's a kind of almost a whole day of planning a gathering together. Um, I mean, the aromas as well, the spices, the fresh produce that you can find in the market in the old city. As I mentioned, also the sweets. I mean, these pancakes, they get cooked um, every day, all day, and you just go and get them while they're still warm.
Mhm.
And some people like to prepare them at home, and some get them ready made. So yeah, it's I think I have really fond memories of Ramadan in Jerusalem.
I can see that. I was actually there last year in Ramadan, to visit Al Aqsa. And I have to say that the food is just phenomenal. Even the street food, the freshly squeezed juices, the pancakes you've just described, the falafel, of course, the kunafa as you come
Yes.
out of the babhatta, after Taraweeh prayers. And the aroma of that, I'm a real sucker for kunafa, so you can imagine what I had for dessert every day.
Yeah.
But also just being invited to a Palestinian home for iftar, as you said, it's almost a party. Despite the difficult circumstances, you go a couple hours early, you leave, well after midnight, and the streets are still buzzing in East Jerusalem, and the warmth of the people, and the spread they put out for you for iftar, because you're a visitor to their city, and they're so happy to welcome you. It's really indescribable. I would encourage everybody listening to go and experience that, quite frankly. Sami, I want to touch on something else you've written about. You've written about this culture of Palestinian food being very much a culture of foraging for certain vegetables and leafy greens, etc., that are native to the region. Would you like to tell our viewers a little bit about that, please?
Yes, of course. I mean, this goes back to what I mentioned earlier, which the connection to the land and to the seasons, and people in Palestine always um, foraging played a big part of their culture and cuisine, and they would forage for different greens and mushrooms and roots to make. Uh, Sometimes it's a simple kind of dish, sometimes it's really elaborate, but the idea behind it is that just uh, to find ways to not waste a lot of things that are growing in the wild, and just pick them and make some really delicious dishes. Um, we have sage and akub, khubeze, which is mellow, um, different herbs, a lot of greens like dandelion and you name it. So this is really, really important. And at the beginning of the spring, people actually go out and pick them and take them home
Hmm.
and cook them. But also you can find vendors that sell these greens as well, like in Jerusalem, for example. Um, because the restrictions with Israel, and people can't always get to places to pick their greens. They would buy them from a vendor.
It's rather
Uh,
sad that they can't get to them. I'm sorry to interrupt, Sami. We're going to go to a quick ad break. We hope it's quick, but we do have to pay the bills, and our sponsors really are the people who keep us going as a community channel. So over to an ad break now.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic Sharia and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphire.com. www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Abu Huraira narrated that he heard the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, say, "In black seed there is a healing for every disease except death." This Ramadan, experience the health benefits of this ancient blessed seed by using the Tib Black Seed range. Black seed assists the body to boost immunity, regulate blood sugar levels, reduce inflammation, and act as a potent antioxidant. Experience a holistic approach to health by introducing the Tib Black Seed range into your Ramadan routine. Available in capsules, pure cold-pressed oil, and a vapor rub. Trust Tib Health Sciences for quality black seed products. For more information, visit blackseed.co.za. Available at leading pharmacies.
In a first for South Africa, Muslim families can now access priceless private emergency medical care with the only fully Sharia-compliant medical takaful and wellness plan. In the event of illness or an accident, Emergivac Sharia will evacuate you by private ambulance to a private hospital and cover you for up to 575,000 Rand for in-hospital expenses, such as radiology, pathology, surgery, ICU, theatre, doctor and specialist expenses. Plus, you receive 24-hour armed response services, roadside, home and even appliance assistance services. Simply download the Emergivac app and register online or SMS Sharia to 40777. Emergivac Sharia, for when serious emergencies require seriously fast response.
With so many investment options today, it's only natural that you might feel a little confused which route to take. Should I buy shares or should I invest in gold bullion? Randery Jewelers now brings you the Zahab coin, an alternative to the Kruger Rand. The Zahab coin, a solid wealth protector in its purest form of 24-karat gold, is the safest way to protect your wealth. So don't just sit there and watch your paper money depreciate. Change to gold. Call Randery Jewelers now at 031 202 4701 or visit www.rjcoin.co.za, situated at 151 Essenwood Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We're talking to Sami Tamimi, celebrity chef. But before we do that, Emergivac Sharia, South Africa's first and only fully Sharia-compliant family medical takaful and wellness product, wishes all listeners Ramadan Kareem. Download the Emergivac app today and get free immediate access to the Emergivac Sharia collection of du'as, hadith, Quran, and much more. With that, Sami, back to our conversation. We were talking about foraging and its importance in the culture, but how sadly nowadays many people don't actually have the ability to go out because of the restrictions, the checkpoints, etc. in the West Bank. They're not able to actually access those leafy greens and mallow, etc. that you were talking about, sage, so they have to buy them. You have also, I warned you I was a huge fan. So I noticed about a month ago that you were raising money for some victims, for Gaza victims, and you were doing that through a very unusual and creative channel, a Carnaby Street food market, I believe it was. Can you tell us a little about that?
The idea came because I felt really I didn't know how to help, and I wanted to create something that when you talk about politics, people sometimes get a bit kind of scared and they don't know how to behave or what to do. So I decided with a couple of friends of mine to do a non-political food market where we invite a lot of food writers and food chefs and people from the food industry here in London to take part. And we didn't restrict what they do. They did most of it at home, and it was about 100 a portion of each. And the idea that people will buy a ticket and then come in, the ticket will allow them two dishes, and they can add a little more. And it was so successful that we had over 3,000 people coming in, and the market was supposed to be from 11 until 3, but we ran out of food
What a
after 1 hour and a half, which was really, really good. We raised just over £20,000,
wow.
and it brought a lot of people together. The atmosphere was so beautiful and so generous and welcoming, but also being able to meet so many people that were kind of debating how to contribute to help people in Gaza. And it's just a beautiful thing to bring all these people together. We are planning a second one, probably going to be around the 9th of June. It's going
Wow.
to be a lot bigger than the first one. The
I
first
have
one
to
was
find a
just
way to get
in
there.
the water, yeah. So it's going to be a lot bigger, and we're going to invite more people and find, different people to sponsor and donate. And it's a really good way to engage with people. A lot of Palestinians that are here in the UK feeling slightly stuck, and it's a way for them to release a lot of the pressure that they have, and they want to talk about it first of all, but also they're they'll be able to also donate and help and feel that they are helping, which is really nice. We work with a very trusted charity called Amos Trust, which I've been working with them for a few years now,
Uh-huh.
and they are absolutely wonderful. They have their connection, in Palestine, and they can help by kind of sneaking, you know, some of the donation and food and clothes to locals also in Gaza.
That's wonderful. And what a creative way of fundraising. I hope it inspires local chefs and foodies in South Africa to perhaps do something similar. We are fast running out of time, but there are two things I really want to bring up with you, Sami. The first is, and I know this is perhaps a little cheeky of me, is there a favorite Palestinian dish for you that's simple enough that you hope everybody listening would actually have a try at?
If you didn't try my cauliflower fritters, they're my mom's, but I keep saying mine because it runs in the family, so you kind of if generation do. I haven't changed any of them, any in the recipe. It's just the same recipe that my mom used to make, and they are wonderful. They can be prepped in 5 minutes,
Mhm.
and they take literally no time to cook. They are delicious for iftar and suhoor, and they're nice, just stuffed in a pita with a bit of tahini or yogurt and a bit of salad and a pickle if you like, and they are just wonderful. They are available also in the online, but also in Jerusalem, the cookbook, and Palestine as well.
Okay, that's wonderful. So please, people, go and try out the cauliflower fritters. I can certainly attest to them being very, very delicious. Actually, for me, surprisingly delicious because I'm not a huge cauliflower fan, but I did make them, I did try them, and I've made them again. So that tells you something. Go and try those cauliflower fritters. I think the recipe is actually online because you did it for The Guardian, if I'm not mistaken.
A while ago, yes.
Yes. So listeners should be able to get it. And then I hope that it actually inspires you, listeners, to go and buy this beautiful, wonderful Palestinian cookbook called Palestine. We've been listening to its author, Sami Tamimi. As I said earlier, he of the Ottolenghi chain restaurants fame. He was a co-founder and a partner of Yotam Ottolenghi. And you also heard that he's got some creative ideas around fundraising, etc. So please go and buy the book if you're thinking of buying a cookbook in the near future. It is not only a beautiful cookbook with easy to prepare recipes and a kind of twist on traditional Palestinian dishes in some cases. People talk a lot about Asian fusion. I would call this Levantine fusion or maybe Palestinian fusion. And it really is phenomenal. But apart from the recipes, the culture and the community values and the power of memory that comes through in this book is really quite phenomenal. I am such a fan of it, and I'm so honored to have had you in studio today, Sami. from you before we let you go, and I know it is really early in Britain at the moment, are there any last thoughts you'd like to leave our listeners and viewers with?
I just keep saying to people to bring awareness to the Palestinian trouble at the moment. Just keep cooking Palestinian recipes and share them with others. This is the best way you can do to keep the story alive.
Thank you so much, Sami. So, combat the erasure of Palestinian culture and the loss of so many recipes in the devastation of homes in Gaza by cooking Palestinian food and sharing it, and so keeping that very important element of the culture alive. Our thanks once again to you, Sami. It's been such an honor. Anytime you come to South Africa, I'm going to be first in line to get my book autographed and first in line to get the new book when it comes out. Thank you again.
Very much. Thank you for having me.
And with that, dear listeners and viewers, we go to an ad break.